Perfect.
Okay. I just told him to go, so he'll go whenever. All right, so we are doing like, is it Xeon or Zion? Xeon, okay. So Xeon just said we're doing 2FM crit, and this is on the PS4 version. For anyone that does not know already, the PS4 version is probably about 30 to 35 minutes faster than the PS2 version in just loads. There's a few strats that actually do end up being faster, mainly being duck flare strats. But some strats are also faster just because of Trinity doing more damage, and a few other things that I'll go over when we get there. So Ninten is currently the world record holder of this category with a 257.06. And if he could potentially PB, he's been really close to PB his few past runs, so it's pretty exciting. So right here we're actually RNG manipulating at the very start. By hitting Cypher in this very specific manner, we're able to manipulate the first 3 dusk fights, or yeah, first 3 dusk fights. So this dusk will always give him the same RNG and kill him at the very start. For critical mode, this is just faster. And on beginner, you actually cannot die here. You'll just be healed to full until you beat the dust down. So yeah, Ninten's just gonna run into this wall. And then right here, Ninten's just going to do 2 air hits, 1 air hit, and then a 3-hit combo. You can notice he let the dusk actually stop walking for a second there. That's also to manipulate RNG for the next dusk fight. So yeah, right here we're going to mail delivery. Mail delivery is pretty simple. It's consistent, and you can just do it fast. I haven't actually timed it myself, but I'm pretty sure it's just the fastest of the 3 to do at this point in the game. So Roxas World actually in a casual playthrough probably takes upwards of 2 to 3 hours just because of cutscenes, but in the speedrun we skip all the cutscenes, so we actually beat it in about 16 minutes on critical mode. So this dusk is also manipulated to give him upside down walk again. Or just do a set number of hits until the dust transitions. And then right here we're actually picking our dream weapon. Unlike Kingdom Hearts 1, this does not affect our stats, it only affects our level up abilities. The reason crit picks shield though is because just the ability layout just works way better for crit. So yeah, this fight is actually manipulated as well at this point. But after this, once we get to Twilight Thorn, we aren't really able to manipulate anymore. There's just too many things shifting the RNG around. But I haven't really gone over it. But so for critical mode, you actually have your HP bonuses are halved, and so are your MP bonuses. You take a lot of damage, but you actually do more damage than Standard and Proud, and you also get all those abilities you just saw Ninten equip right there, including a finishing plus and draw, which are really useful for early game and critical. So Ninten opting to take that hit there. Most runners will try to avoid that just because you don't want to go into Twilight Thorn with damage taken, but Twilight Thorn's actually a very consistent fight if you know how to do it. But it's also really hard to learn to do correctly. So right here, this is just an RC chain. We can't avoid this. We have to go through it. That's a weird little thing, is like Twilight Thorn's hitbox still exists there for some reason, but you can only hit it once. We don't really know why, but we'll usually just hit it just because there's nothing else to do here. So right here we can actually get 4 combos and an extra hit. Funnily enough, that's 13 hits, but if Ninten can get this 13th hit here, we can... Oh, he didn't get it. But you can make the fight slightly faster if you get it. So he's going to run to the front of the head. The reason he does this is Twilight Thorn won't spawn thorns in front of his head. He'll still spawn them around him, but we can avoid those. He will reverse... Oh, that's unfortunate. He will reversal there to avoid the vines and to avoid the creepers. But one of the combos is actually supposed to knock both of the creepers away, but he mistimed it, so he didn't. So he got a little, what's the word I'm looking for? He got a little bodied, but he reacted well. Right there, we just got, we equipped guard. So we're doing struggles now. The point of these are just to get either 200 orbs or have more orbs than the opponent at the end. By abusing second finishers, we're actually able to just knock Hainer into this corner and beat him up until he drops all his orbs. And with draw, we're able to actually pick up all the orbs faster than Hainer can. So he's not able... So he's actually very consistent on critical mode, unlike beginner. For Vivi right here, we'll actually do hit his revenge value very specifically. Ninten will do 2 hits here, and then do 2 finishers to force Vivi to retaliate. We want to hit him into this corner. And then we're going to knock him out with the second finisher. Oh. Ninten screwing up the strat a little. When Vivi's at 1 HP, he actually won't knock out until you hit him with the finisher. So, but he also won't retaliate either. So you can just keep doing single hits on him until he drops all his orbs, and then you can hit him with the finisher at that point. So on the first Axel fight here, it takes 6 air combos to kill Axel. We actually do this first combo. Oh. So this is going to screw up the fight a little. We don't want to stagger Axel in the first fight because he will retaliate after 2 combos. See, normally we do a first combo on him without staggering him until the finisher. And then we'll do 2 more air combos, which will hit his revenge value and cause retaliation. But since Ninten got hit at the very start and staggered him with the very first hit, that did add retaliation, so he had to adapt to the fight. I'll go over revenge value a little later. It's kind of unique to Kingdom Hearts 2. in the way that it's used. So yeah, right there we actually want to die to Setzer. He gives us the metal, which gives us +1 strength. And +1 strength is just better than the champion belt at this point in the game. We don't really need defenses, just because we take so much damage anyways. And +1 strength is actually matters a lot for this speedrun. So right there you saw him turn summon animations off, so you don't actually have to watch them every time you summon them. He also put on the metal and he put on scan. So this next portion here is the 7 Wonders. It's basically a series of mini games, and just do them fast. So VV clones will actually probably be one of the hardest to optimize, just because, as you can tell, there's a lot of moving parts to it. That was a fairly good one overall. But yeah, if you get hit, you just waste a lot of time having to run back to the VVs. So now we're coming up to Shadow Roxas. Shadow Roxas actually has a lot of HP, and the metal that we got from Setzer actually it becomes useful as soon as this fight. So Ninten's gonna hit him into the corner here and try to do air combos. Hitting air combos on Shadow Roxas is actually really hard just because he's so low to the ground. But it does save a few seconds if you can get it perfectly. So this is the bag mini game. You basically just ride it around in circles. You can crash here, but it's very rare and should only happen if you're ever mashing triangle at a very specific time. And even that doesn't occur very often, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. So right here, we actually have to run all the way back to the hill again for story reasons. I believe Ninten gets this chest, yeah. So Ninten's actually only going to pick up one chest here, then one chest in the tower during this segment. And the big reason for that is you can actually skip a lot of the potion chests if you trust yourself not to use too many and not to take too much damage. And also he does it just for menuing reasons. By doing this, he doesn't actually have to manually equip an ether, as the same with the potion and the ether, because his item layout's going to be 2 potions, 1 ether for a while. And instead of picking them up manually, or equipping them manually, he's just going to pick them up from chests. This is another fight we could death abuse to, but we do want the experience. So we're gonna fight it out. So yeah, right here for the story, we're progressing. We're going to the White Room or Nominee's room. And Roxas is just finding out that he's in a data world, pretty much. Story, stuff, Kingdom Hearts. Woo! So this will be the last mob fight of Roxas World. This fight's actually pretty hard to do consistently. Just 4 dusks makes it really hard to hit them all and fast. But what Ninten's gonna try and do here is kill 3 of the dusks. And once you kill 3 dusks, 2 assassins will spawn. He's gonna try and catch one of the assassins before he goes underground. And then kill it. So right here he's gonna catch the assassin. Hopefully this dust doesn't mess with him. Oh, he killed the dust. That was really nice. So yeah, that fight was really good. Yeah, ideally you catch the first assassin, and right as you kill him, the second assassin comes to you. So we now have 2 Keyblades for the Axel fight. And we're just going to do a very specific set of combos so that we control what Axel does. Ninten's going to hit him into the wall here, and then use the reaction command. And then from here you can do a ground combo and another air combo to finish him off. So that was a 16-11 Roxas World. That's pretty good. A really good Roxas World can be sub 16, but there's just a lot of small things that makes that hard to do. So right here he puts Donald and Goofy on party attack. He takes off Donald, Kira, and takes both of their items. The reason he takes both of those items is because he's going to actually die in the upcoming fight. You would notice on beginner, you would farm there for experience, but critical mode is just way faster to die. And we make up the experience later on. A big reason why crit doesn't need the experience there is because we do have 2 finishers, which makes up for our slight lack of damage. Whereas beginner wouldn't have that second finisher. I mentioned this earlier, but we generally call this death abusing. This fight has 3 ways to progress it. You either time out, you do a certain amount of hits, or you die to it. And critical mode chooses to die there. Beginner tries to hit the the set number of hits before the timer runs out. So yeah, just for oh, I forgot to mention this, but critical mode also gets less experience in general, and due to your lack of damage and just less experience, that's a big reason why station fight isn't quite worth it. But yeah, just for comparison, beginner would be level 6 by the end of station fight, whereas crit's still level 3. So yeah, this is the ether that Ninten picks up. So now it's in his inventory. He doesn't have to manually equip it. These tower fights are pretty simple, but they can be kind of RNG based depending on how the shadows react. Because as you notice, they can go underground and there isn't much you can do about that. You really just hope that Donald gives you a lot of thunders here. Another ability you get near the very beginning of the game, before Twilight Thorn, is Reaction Boost. And we'll see that used here. Ninten's actually going to hit this soldier 3 times without a finisher. And that's going to activate his Cyclone. And then he's going to try and hit as many enemies as possible with it. He's going to go for it again here and try and kill 3. And he got the triple. Oh, baby. So yeah, right here we just jump on the book and talk to Yen Sid. Because why not? And now we get some new clothes. Amazing. So the drive form we actually just got is Valor form. Valor form is basically the early game drive form. It moves faster than base Sora while running. You get access to 2 Keyblades, but you can't use any magic. So you'll see Valor form used a lot in early game just because it's the only drive form we really have access to. Right there, Ninten did some movement tech where he swings to get up on top of that box right there, so he doesn't have to jump up and ledge grab, because ledge grabbing is just slow in general. This is another fight we could death abuse to, but like I mentioned earlier, we do want experience when it's not too far out of the way, so we are going to go for experience here. So there's actually a drive recovery that you can pick up for safety. I don't know if Ninten's going to go for it in this run or not. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going for it. So he's just going to jump up here and enter the Bailey. You could pick up the drive recovery for safety on fights like Boat Fight, where you have a chance of losing Chicken Little. But most top runners opt to skip it because they rely on having a good Boat Fight anyways. So right here, this is the Bailey fight. You have Leon helping you, question mark? But basically, you have a lot of Dusk, a lot of Samurai, a lot of Creepers. You're going to try and kill this first wave as fast as possible, so you can spawn the Samurai wave. Right here, Ninten's going to try and guard a Samurai and hope Leon doesn't screw him up. Then he's going to use the reaction command and try and kill all these Creepers. And he got an instant RC on the second one. Holy moly. So Ninten's going to choose to manually kill this Samurai because he wouldn't get a good RC anyways. And now he's just going to spam Blizzard on the Dusk. Wow. That was a really good Bailey. Yeah, generally what can happen, there's Leon can hit the Samurais, which causes them to not give you the reaction command. I guess I'll explain reaction commands a bit during this coming mission. But if you don't get that reaction command, that whole wave can just disperse everywhere, and it's really hard to just pin them down and kill them all. But the reaction command just lets you clear them out really fast. So yeah, the reaction commands, as most of you probably know, are based off hitting the triangle button. And they're very situational depending on the enemy and the fight. Most boss fights will have a reaction command. We won't always use them because they do end up being slower a lot of time. But yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. It's green, it's pretty. So unfortunately, unlike Kingdom Hearts 1, we cannot speed up the Gummy Ship missions. And there is a Gummy Ship mission before every world. So we just have to kind of sit through them. They are a nice break if you like breaks. And there are a few Gummy Ship missions where you can just get up and walk away for a few minutes. LOD is not one though. Do not try to AFK during this Gummy Ship mission because you will probably die. So one thing to note, since we just have some downtime, is critical mode, beginner mode, standard, and proud will all go to LOD first. The big reason we do this is because we want to level up. And Beast Castle, going to Beast Castle first actually does not give you a lot of experience. You also wouldn't have things like Chicken Little for Beast Castle, which isn't really such a big deal, but it is nice. But what happens here is we want to get as much experience now, and it just makes Beast Castle a lot easier. Level 1 would go to Beast Castle first though, because since you're not leveling up, you don't need the experience. And by going to Beast Castle first, you get access to things like Hero's Crest before LOD. Another thing I guess we can mention is anti-point. So going anti-form is actually fairly consistent. Going anti-form in a fight is still RNG, but it is you will never get anti-form before a certain amount of anti-points, and the route is completely based around that. So every time you see Ninten use a form, it is completely calculated. There are certain places where you won't get anti-points, like the very start of LOD. When you have a forced party member in your party, which Ping is, until she turns into Mulan, you won't get any anti-points. It's just a weird thing in the game. But because of this, we can actually drive as much as possible, or as much as we want at the very start of LOD here. And it actually works out because it's just also faster in general. Right here, this is actually pretty funny. I think this was found out by someone accidentally hitting select or the middle button during that. But what that actually does is that cancels out a few tutorials we would normally see a bit later on in Olympus. But by doing that, instead of seeing 5 tutorials, we would see 2 or 3, I mean, and skip 2 of them. And that actually saves a few seconds. So those are pretty good pre-missions. So right here, we want to make sure we get Valor level 2 that Ninten just got, so that's good. The reason we want this is because we're going to be using this on Mountain Climb later, and having level 2 guarantees we'll reach the cave in time. You can still do it with level 1 Valor, it's just a little tighter. You also notice he switches in Donald, and that's just because Donald does Thunder, which does AoE damage and hits things. Oh, that was a really good guard by Ninten. That attack's really scary, it does a lot of damage on crit, and you'll see a lot of newer runners die to Nightwalkers. So yeah, we got access to fire at the end of Bailey, and fire's just really good against shadows. It hits over multiple frames, so it's actually really easy to just keep shadows staggered and above the ground. Oh, he barely avoided that Nightwalker. Oh. Okay, Donald killed... Oh, that was terrifying. So if Donald doesn't kill that Nightwalker, he can actually screw around with you a lot, as you saw there. Ninten reacted pretty well, but that was still pretty scary. So right now, Ninten's basically playing hide and seek with the shadows. He's just trying to bop them on the head before they go underground. So he ends the fight with Valor there. One reason we do that, and this really mattered on versions like the PS2 and PS3, is Rather than waiting for the drive load in the next screen, we can end the fight with the drive explosion, so you don't have to sit around waiting for the drive load since the fight has to fade out anyways. But using Valor here will actually... Ninten does this strat where he'll use square and then switch targets and use another square attack, and you can actually kill all 3 enemies like that. So yeah, by abusing the game's limitations, we can actually get to this last wall without the Assault Riders spawning, because we leave some of the Nightwalkers alive. The Assault Rider is just really annoying to deal with there, so we just don't spawn him, and it makes it easier. So this is another pretty scary fight. If you opt to buy the Fire Bangle at the start of the world, like some people do, you can actually equip it here, and you'll live longer against the shadows just because you have more defense. But generally, by using fire, you can keep all the shadows staggered. You don't have to worry about them too much because they're dropping HP orbs, and with draw, you should be able to pick them up fairly easily. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a 3-shot right now to shadows. So for these 2 Nightwalkers, he's going to bait out one of their attacks, then jump over the other one and kill it. So yeah, like I mentioned, we can just abuse Valor Form here. Since Mulan is still ping, we aren't getting any anti-points. And that really doesn't matter for a lot of the early game anyways. Ninten also on critical mode has 50 AP at the start of the game, so we don't have to pick up any AP boost throughout the run, unlike beginner, which picks up quite a few. So during this fight, it's a timed fight, so we can't really progress it up, but our big goal here is experience and money. We want to hit level 10 by the end of this square fight before Shan Yu. And the reason for that is level 10 is a strength up, and we'll get 2 strength from that. So that actually speeds up the fight quite significantly. If you don't have level 10, then you're going to go slow. For the first 30 seconds or so, you don't spawn that many bolt towers, so you're just trying to kill as many rapid thrusters as possible. At this point though, I think Ninten's going to try and focus on the bolt towers, because they give the money and more experience. You can die in this fight, so it's a little scary, but if you're staying in the air, it's usually not too bad. Oh, that's unfortunate. He didn't kill that one last bolt tower. But he got 68 kills, which is pretty normal. The kills themselves don't matter as long as you're getting a lot of experience. So yeah, by going Valor Form there, we actually saved like a second. Funny enough. That's fun. Right there, we actually save warp. Because of the PS4 loads, it is actually faster to just warp out of the world and then warp back in here. And on critical mode, that actually saves like close to 10 to 15 seconds. Normally, we would use Mulan limit to go down to fly down the mountain, but we don't need to do that anymore. It also means we don't have to buy a tent, which means our early game money isn't as tight, and it's just very fast and beneficial overall. So this is actually the first limit we see of the game. Limits are basically just team combos, I guess you would call them, with your party members. And you get invincibility frames during them, and they tend to do a lot of damage if you use them correctly. You saw there Ninten did hit level 10, so he will have the strength up for Shan Yu. Like I mentioned earlier, critical mode does have a reaction boost at the start here, so Ninten will be going for the reaction command at the very start of Shanyu. Oh, he parried off the Nightwalker. That was odd. Okay, I don't know how he pulled that off, but that was amazing. He was able to get Shanyu to the HP gate in the air after getting picked up by the bird. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. Yeah, that was actually a very weird fight for what normally happens, but it looked like it worked out fine. It was actually really cool to see that. So this is probably the scariest gummy ship mission in any percent. The cannons can kill you very fast, but as long as you're shooting them or avoiding them, it's not too bad. I'm pretty sure Ninten doesn't fire a single bullet on this gummy ship mission and just dodges everything. So Olympus Coliseum is probably widely considered the worst early game world. There's just so many things that can kill you, and there's a lot of things that can lose you time in general. The first of that being Hades Escape. Hades Escape with the Fire Bangle is a 3-shot from Hades Fireballs, and it's still a 2-shot from Lancers. So it's pretty scary. Like, you can die very fast. Fortunately, you do have Orin and Donald there to heal you, but they're sometimes stuck healing themselves. But overall, Hades Escape on critical mode can actually be faster than beginner because you do have the reaction command, which will do more damage, or reaction boost, sorry, making back cries stronger, and able to actually one-shot Lancers if you get a good positioning. Oh, he did shoot there. I lied. So Ninten's actually on a fairly good run right now. It's not like super amazing, but he is pretty close to PB from what I can tell. So world record is still very much alive, but we are only in the first hour of the game still. So yeah, right here we just have to run all the way down to Hades' room. It's just a long walk. You will see some few movement tech, like slide dashing to that dog to get a little boost there. You can also boost off the Lancers attacking you from behind. On critical mode, that's generally not a good idea because, like I mentioned, it's a 2-shot and you don't get healed until the very start of Hades' escape. So you don't really want to risk dying on the way there because you will have to run all the way back. So yeah, right there, as you saw, Ninten boosted off the Lancer. Which is fine, because he'll be healed here.
That's it.
Hades actually used to be do two different moves there, but on PS4 and PS3, he'll actually just stand there and dance, so you can slide dash and fire him, just to hit the hit counter to progress the fight. So right here, Ninten will jump back and fire. This actually manipulates Hades to teleport instead of throwing a fireball instantly. So yeah, right there, I saw Ninten parry a fireball, then guard a fireball. This second platform is actually really scary because there's two Lancers here and you don't have a back right to deal with them. So he's going to try and guard them and fire them. Hopefully Hades doesn't fireball, but he did. Ninten opted to limit there because a Lancer was about to stab him, and like I mentioned earlier, a fireball plus a Lancer hit will 2-shot him. So right here, he's just going to use the iframes and the damage to get through this safely. Thanks to MP Hystera that we get at the start of the game, he'll actually get his MP back near the start of the last wave. So it's not too bad, but it's still less than optimal. So unfortunately, everything's scattered right now. Oh, that was a little scary. So he doesn't have a back right to deal with the large body, so he can either opt to try and combo this while Hades fireballing him or go for the limit. Looks like he's opting to combo the large body. He used the RC for iframes there. Oh god. Yeah, it's not an RNG manipulation, it's just a position manipulation. Similar to how Shadow Stalker works. If you move backwards at the very start of the fight, some enemies will just react differently to you. I don't know if I said RNG manipulation, but it's just a position manipulation. So at the start of Cerberus here, we're gonna die. There are very specific fights where Mickey will come to rescue you, I guess. And Cerberus being one of the very first ones. Mickey will always come on your first death on a Mickey fight. And we opt to use it on Cerberus, because Cerberus is just, as you saw there, Ninten just got straight up 2-shot. So trying to fight out Cerberus while getting 2-shot is actually just a pain. So we have to use Mickey here because Pearl does a lot of damage in the early game. Unfortunately, you can't 1-cycle him with Pearls like you can in Beginner. So we have to basically 2-cycle him. And then he's going to revive Ninten, and Ninten's actually just going to probably shoot a Blizzard here to kill him. That was a little awkward. Normally you can just hit him with a blizzard from where you were, but he's swinging his heads, so Ninten couldn't land a blizzard. So one unique thing about the Kingdom Hearts 2 is you do require a finisher to kill every boss in this game. But Magic does have the property of finishers in terms of killing bosses. So if a boss has 1 HP, instead of landing a finisher, you actually can use Magic to kill them. It's a weird little thing that I don't think is ever actually explained, but you will see us utilize that. So these urns here actually only break with the finisher, so you just want to get to your finisher as fast as possible. Fortunately, Crit actually does have the finishing plus, so you do have 2 finishers. So as you can see there, he can just quickly kill out the orbs using Blizzard. And with Draw, you're able to just pick up the orbs very fast. His goal here is to basically get to 70 before the big urn spawns, or kill as many urns as he can and get to 70 before the big urn spawns. Okay, he didn't even go for the big urn. Ninten, the god. So he actually got so many coins at the start there, he just killed them in the middle and got enough to finish the fight. That's another like 1 second Valor time saver. So right here we actually get a power boost. Like I said earlier, strength is just so valuable. So he's going to use the strength boost there, equip aerial dive and counter guard, and he's also going to put Donald and Goofy to Sora attack. So one thing, I think they actually started doing this at the start, or near the end of PS2 before everyone moved to PS4. But Ninten only picks up 1 ether from a chest. So that means in general he'll have less ethers than he could. But he's opted to say that he doesn't need those ethers in the route. I'm surprised he hasn't picked up a few just for safety. But hey, he's the runner, not me. So right here, we just have to kill the water clones. Generally, anything above a 40 is okay. 45s are like pretty good, and then 50s are like amazing. We can't really control where Sora throws the water clone, but we can kind of egg him in that direction. Yeah, this is just use the reaction command spam. Oh, that's unfortunate. So you got a 44. That's not too bad. But getting a 50 is like really good. So this first Pete fight is timed, so we can't speed it up at all. But we do want to kill as many enemies as possible. So Ninten's going to do a fire there to trigger the reaction command and try and get all these back cries out really fast. The faster you kill these enemies, so you got hit by the ball there. That ball's scary, it like 2-shots you. As you can see, his party's already dead. But yeah, the faster you kill the first wave, the faster he'll spawn the second wave, which potentially means he'll spawn this third wave. So we're basically just grinding for experience again and money. Fun fact, if you don't actually kill all the bats, They can backcry on Meg and she can just blow up instantly and die. I've seen it happen on PS3 and PS4. I don't know if I've seen it on PS2. So yeah, you saw Ninten got one bat from the third wave there. So right here, he's actually going to slide dash and go into Valor form. We would normally actually go anti here. But since we have Hercules in the party, we actually can't. Actually, no, we wouldn't go anti-form here. We don't have enough anti-points. But since we have Hercules in the party, we couldn't go anti-form either. Sorry, I counted wrong. But yeah, it's safe to Valor there no matter what the situation is. But because we have the two Keyblades on, we actually do have increased strength, which does increase the damage of Backcry. Right there, Ninten equipped Trinity limit, and we're going to use that right away. So Trinity limit is just a group limit or a solo limit used by Sora. And the damage it does is based off the hits that the 3 parts generate. So Ninten... So we use the Trinity at the start just to kill this first head. And we're actually going to use another one later on. Trinity, or skipping the third Trinity is possible on critical mode now, because the Trinity just hits more due to the 60 FPS, but it's still pretty difficult depending on which head pattern you get. Yeah, Ninten's going to use a second Trinity here, and you're looking for like 90 hits on the Trinity. And that's usually pretty easy to get if you use it. Oh, he's camera spazzing out. He got 102 hits, which is really good. And he got the good head pattern too. So he can get the Trinity skip here. He's getting kind of bopped around though. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. I wasn't sure if he was going to go for that, but if you know where the heads are going to be, he will lower his heads for a second there, and you can just jump up and hit it if there's one hit left, which is faster than going for the Trinity, but it is kind of hard to get that. If he had Valor form, he might have tried to go Valor form as well there.
Hey, wait a minute.
No, he did not whiff the Trinity. So yeah, we actually just got Hero's Crest, and Hero's Crest is basically going to be our Keyblade of choice until after 1000 Heartless. Or, well, right before, actually, on critical mode. But yeah, we're talking to Pooh. This is the only time we'll enter 100 Acre in this playthrough. This is another fight where you can end it one of two ways, where you die or just kill everything. And critical mode, it's faster to die, so we just die. So we're heading into Beast Castle, and Beast Castle is basically the end of what we would call early game. Once we get to Timeless River, that's around where mid game starts. But yeah, like I mentioned way earlier, we go to Land of Dragons first to try and get a lot of experience. And by having so much experience and being having the extra strength here, we can actually blow through Beast Castle. We just have enough strength to like kill Darkthorn a lot faster. That's the big one. If we came here earlier at like level 3, we would just do no damage. We also have Hero's Crest now, which gives us air combo boost. And the way air combo boost is, your finishers do more damage based on how many hits are in your combo. So with things like Hero's Crest on Valor form, we can just do a lot of damage. and get things like windowless on Shadow Stalker. Beast Castle Gummy Ship mission is actually one of the Gummy Ship missions you could probably get up and take a drink. You can't AFK the entire thing, but you can AFK a lot of it. So one reason we actually set Donald and Goofy to Sora tag is for the upcoming parlor fight. Critical mode, since you actually don't kill the shadows fast enough, you can do a series of fires and go into Valor form to get enough hits to end the fight early. If Donald and Goofy weren't on Sora attack, they would actually screw up the fight and make it harder to end it early. It's just a small thing. You also kind of do that so Donald doesn't start thundering the Demix clones, which makes it more likely for them to hit you. So yeah, we actually recently just got an accessory slot. So Ninten's gonna buy a Sardonyx ring. The Sardonyx ring gives us +1 strength, which we can equip freely, and sorry, we get the accessory slot later on. But this is the only place we can actually buy the Sardonyx ring. So we do buy it here so we can equip it a bit later. But yeah, at this point, our anti-points are high enough where we wouldn't be able to drive in combat. But the only times we will be driving from now until Timeless River are out of combat. And you cannot get anti-form out of combat. But our anti-points are like, oh god, not 8. Really high at this point, that's all I know. So we're going to use Chicken Little for critical mode here. Chicken Little is really good because he actually gives you kind of a lifesteal effect. He'll also potion you at low HP, and he has a whistle effect that will keep the enemies crowd controlled for you. As you can see there. So yeah, those gargoyles are actually very terrifying on crit. But since we have Chicken Little, we're able to avoid them from bothering us too much. The reason he uses magic during the wardrobe push is because there's nothing else to do there, so he just does it for fun. Oh, he went for the ledge grab skip. Yeah, this is just a very simple mini game where we light the lanterns.
This'll do the trick.
Let's go.
Yep, another valid form drive for movement. And also because we can use it on Beast here. So at the very start of this fight, we're actually going to use the reaction command to stun him. And then Ninten's going to whiff a hit and then do a full combo of 2 finishers. And Beast is dead. So yeah, right there Ninten equipped Upper Slash, which is one of our better ability, or like it. We don't have Finishing Leap yet, so we use Upper Slash pretty much. Right there is an option to save warp. It is, I think, like a very slightly slower, but Ninten opts to just run through. So right here, like I mentioned during Hades' escape, by moving backwards at the start here, Shadow Stalker will go underground first and go to the chandelier. If we'd stood still or moved forward, he actually would have went into the window, and we don't want that. So we're going to kill this chandelier. And then Ninten's going to do a full combo with 1 finisher here and push Shadow Stalker away from the window. Then he's going to jump and do a X attack into a square attack. Square attack actually ends your combo early and goes straight to the finisher, and that's able to give us windowless, where Shadow Stalker never goes into the window. And that's just significantly faster. Right here, Ninten's going to get off a bit of damage. And then he's going to use Beast Limit. The reason we use Beast Limit here is for the invincibility frames, damage, and to keep Darkthorn staggered. He's going to hit him into the air and just do a few air combos to kill him. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people had trouble with that fight casually on crit, but a big reason we do use Beast Limit is to avoid the shadow or dark balls, because those things, I don't know, I'm not sure how many hits it takes to kill you, but they do kill you in at least 2 or 3 hits. It's probably 3. But yeah, with Darkthorn spinning around and dark balls, it's just like a pain. So you can use Beast Limit to get through that phase.
Let's go.
Another Valor form for movement.
This way. Let's go.
So this is the mini escorts, as we like to call it. He's basically just got to shuffle Mini down this corridor and the next room. And we use her Holy, or Faith, as they call it in English, to push back all the enemies and kind of
Let's go.
keep her safe.
This way. Let's go. This way. Let's go.
Fun fact, in the original Kingdom Hearts 2 Japanese version on the PS2, you actually would get explosion or experience from that final
This way.
faith explosion here in this room, in the last room, and you would just kill like 11 bolt towers and get crazy experience.
This way.
Fortunately, they changed that in the English version on PS2.
This way. Let's go.
But Ninten here actually wants to get to a certain experience because he wants to hit level 14 while doing Windows for another strength boost.
Let's go.
We want to be like 500. It's either 523 or 528. It's 520 something to the next level here. So he's actually pretty short on experience right now. So he has to farm some of these bolt towers. Okay, that's good.
This way. Let's go.
Yeah, it's actually called Holy in Japanese.
Let's go.
Oh. So yeah, there we get the accessory slot that I accidentally said we got earlier. And he's going to equip the sardonyx ring once he equips enters Timeless River. Right here we go back to Hollow Bastion for story purposes.
Give me strength.
So this is old Pete. We're just going to beat him up.
Back off.
So we're going to use Chicken Little here again to round up the enemies.
Give me strength.
These hammer frames are actually terrifying. They like two-shot you. But at this point, he'll get knocked into the air and get this other reaction command that can one-shot these enemies. And two-shot the hammer frames. So that was a really good fight. Windows are actually really dumb because you can lose like 15 seconds in Windows and not it be entirely your fault. But there are general ways to manipulate Chicken Little to give you the correct whistling. Chicken Little Whistle is also another position-based manipulation kind of thing. It's not 100% consistent like some other things, but it is something you'll notice experienced runners are able to do.
Give me strength.
So yeah, funny enough, Chicken Little does work on the cars here, and it makes them a lot easier to deal with. Because his baseball will actually stagger them out of their charging attack that you normally wouldn't be able to do much about except for guard and counter guard. So this last window, we're not going to use Chicken Little because the last window you do, you actually don't get, or it does not revert Chicken Little and give you drive back. Also this window, we're able to just deal with the last wave by using Trinity to one-shot the last wave.
Give me strength.
And the reason we want drive at the end of this window is so we can go Valor Form here again. And since it gives us the second Keyblade, it increases the damage we do with the debris reaction command here on Pete, allowing us to knock him out in three hits. It also increases the amount of damage we do on this box. You'll notice Ninten isn't doing finishers, and that's because if the reaction command comes up while he's doing finishers, he wouldn't be able to use it in time and he would get knocked off. And that does lose quite a bit of time. And he got really good RNG, so he got a 2-cycle there. That's really good.
What's that for?
So right here we use Trinity for the second phase. Big reason for that is the fire is just really annoying. Oh, okay. Ninten's playing it on the edge. Normally you would guard there and then just use counter guard, but Ninten's opting to just hit Pete. And if you can hit his HP gate fast enough, he won't finish his attack. But normally we cancel out the attack with counter guard. Right there, by slide dashing and hitting him once, he's able to kill Pete in 2 reaction commands here rather than 3. So it saves you a bit of time. Oh yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, our anti-points were really high due to all our Valor Form movement. But when you get a new Dry Form, such as Wisdom Form, Master Form, Limit Form, Final Form, your anti-points are instantly reset to 0. So we can actually drive in combat again without worrying about it too much. But funny enough, the one time we do Valor Form in Port Royal is when Jack Sparrow is a forced party member, and we wouldn't get anti-points anyway. The problem with anti-form is that you can't use magic, you can't revert. Your attacks have really long animations and you just take more damage as well. It's not... like, it can be useful, it's just not very consistent. Like, getting it on Xigbar, or not Xigbar, Prison Keeper actually isn't the worst thing, except for Prison Keeper just starts to, like, one-shot you. But you can stagger Prison Keeper a lot. So a common theme you see here is Chicken Little again. So the pirates, like they mentioned in the game, are weak to magic. So you'll be seeing us use... Ninten went for the slide dash fire and then just death abused anyways, so... but yeah, here, Blizzard, Blizzard, Thunder, Thunder will kill all the pirates here because Chicken Little will whistle them in. So right here again, we let Chicken Little do his work. He'll suck in the first two waves, but we need to move back a little when the soldiers spawn. Otherwise Chicken Little wouldn't magnet them in. That was a little unfortunate. That one soldier was out of range of Ninten's fire, but he did give him the reaction command, so it wasn't too bad. Weird. I didn't think Ninten would go for the FPS mode there. So the way summon experience works in this game is for every time you lose a drive bar, or like it switches to the one below it, you get summon experience. So by using FPS mode there, you actually get summon experience. But I don't know why he would use that, because he should have enough at this point. So, in Port Royal, you actually only want Chicken Little to whistle. His baseball, in general, is just not good. A big reason for that is that whenever he baseballs a pirate, they just go flying. And especially when on boat fight, where there's a lot of shadows, he'll just often knock him straight into a shadow, which isn't good. Yeah, these pirates do a lot of damage, so it's really good that Chicken Little gives you, like, lifesteal. Oh, he pushed that pirate into the shadows, and he was about to smack him in the face. Yeah, this is boat fight. This fight is really scary on critical mode, because a lot of the pirates just like two-shot you. Yeah, it's I don't know how to really explain this fight. There's a lot of little things going on. But Ninten MP charges there on purpose because you don't really want to use an ether. And by the time he gets to the very last waves, he will have MP back. He wants to avoid these cannon shots, and he wants to avoid Chicken Little getting hit. Because losing Chicken Little here would mean you don't have Valor for Barbosa, especially since he did not pick up the drive recovery. Okay, at this point he should be fine. But yeah, if you get hit by the cannon, Chicken Little will actually kind of bug out. He'll only throw firecrackers. And you don't want that. So you want to try and avoid those cannon shots as much as possible. This little mini game here is also really scary. Generally, you'll save Valor Form for safety in case you get hit. But Ninten chose to stagger them while there to give him enough time to get to this last barrel. But we want Valor Form for this run to Barbosa because these guys are going to shoot you. And just running faster makes it easier to avoid them. So Barbosa is just like normal pirates in the sense that you can freeze him. And we'll be abusing that because freezing him like just resets his revenge value as well. So first we have to kill this Illuminator, and then Barbosa is going to try and attack Jack. Ninten's going to try and get a Valor combo off on him without hitting him into the shadows, hopefully. Okay. So yeah, Ninten stopped the Valor combo there because he didn't want to hit Barbosa into the shadows. But unfortunately that let Barbosa just charge him. But he was able to freeze Barbosa anyways. So now he's just gonna keep blizzarding him and doing air combos to kill him. If you couldn't freeze Barbosa, this fight would be a lot harder, and it's not so much that Sora would die, but if Jack Sparrow dies, the fight ends as well. It's just, I guess, in the story, because Jack is, I don't know, mortal. I don't know the lore, but Jack can't die in that fight. Otherwise, you get a game over pretty much. Captain Jack Sparrow. So we got Wisdom Form at the end of Timeless River, but you won't see us use it until now. We also had Reflect, but don't see us really use it until now. The reason we use Wisdom Form in Agrabah is we're actually going to grind Wisdom Form up to level 3. The reason we do this is because leveling up Wisdom Form gives you the ability called Quick Run. And at level 3 we actually get level 1 Quick Run on Sora without having to be in Wisdom Form. This is good just for basic movement. Just speeds up Sora without having to use a drive form. It's also just like probably the fastest way to deal with a lot of this stuff in Agrabah. So this is another fight we can just death abuse. So Ninten's just gonna die really fast. Right here we're gonna buy the Thundara trinket and as many ethers as possible. The reason we buy the Thundara trinket is it gives us lightning resist, and armor. That'll be useful on in Space Paranoids and Hollow Bastion 3. This is probably one of the longest menus in the game. We equip Reflect, we set Aladdin to Sora attack, we're going to take his ethers, and then we're gonna put on the Thundara trinket, put on an ether, put on Aerial Spiral, take off our Lucky Luckies, put on Damage Drive and High Jump, and then take off Goofy Bash and put on Tornado. I know I said a lot of things there, but don't worry about it too much. So right here, we're gonna see Ninten start grinding for Wisdom Form. With Reaction Boost, the Silver Rock RC will actually one-shot them. One reason that Proud and Standard were bad for a bit was because without Reaction Boost, you couldn't one-shot them. Right here, we'll use Reflect and then finish them all off. I don't think Ninten will get level 2 here. Oh, he did. Okay, good. But we want to generally hit level 2 by here so we can have level 2 during the treasure room fight. I mean, we'll do the rest of wisdom grinding in that room. This is a mini game. That's all I'm really going to say about it. So right here, Ninten's gonna hit the ice cubes, whatever they're called, to force a retaliation. Then just reflect them, and it's gonna kill them. Oh, that was unfortunate. Normally, you can kill all 4 of those with one reflect.
It's over. Yeah, back off.
So right here, Ninten will actually kill this first Fortune Teller with an air combo, drop, reflect, and then Trinity while locking onto it. What that does is the icicle he shoots at you will trigger the reflect, and by Trinitying, you'll actually carry the reflect explosion with you to kill the Fortune Teller. It's just really cool and swag at the same time. So yeah, Ninten's gonna grind for Wisdom Form level 3 here. And he got it, so that's good. As you see, he got Quick Run level 1 on Sora now. So he's gonna try and hit the Fat Bandits with part of that reflect and go for, I think, a 2-part Trinity here. Okay, yeah. If you want to be really safe, you can go for a 3-part Trinity, but if you do land that reflect on the large bodies from that last fiery globe, you can easily 2-part Trinity there. So right now he's putting on Aerial Finish, Experience Boost, and Comet. So we actually get Donald's first limit of the game here. And unlike other limits, actually, you're able to freely control Sora during Comet and Duck Flare. So while having iframes, you can just combo normally, which is really useful for a lot of fights. So the Fire and Ice Lord have a series of HP gates where they'll break apart. We'll use Comet to get through like the first one, and then we'll use Valor Form to get through the next few. So this is actually going to be our last gummy ship for a while. And then from here, basically until Twilight Town 3 is just speed, speed, speed. So that's going to be fun to look forward to. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to say during these gummy ship missions. So if anyone has any questions for me, I can answer them. Hopefully they're related to the game. No, I am going to commentate more runs, but I don't see why that question's relevant. Worst world to speedrun in Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably Olympus Coliseum. I think Master Form's actually a really useful form that people seem to overlook because of Final Form. Like, the magic in Master Form's really cool. But Final Form, once you get it, is pretty strong in most situations in casual and speedrun play. Critical mode gets half HP bonuses. Your base HP and your base MP is still the same though.
Let's go.
So yeah, this is another fight that Ninten can death abuse and just dies. The reason we summon Genie there is because we don't want to set Jack to Sora attack. And he would just run around attacking enemies, making it harder to die. So by summoning Genie there, we can just avoid that. Genie would normally potion you similar to Chicken Little, but the threshold to end the fight is higher than where Genie would normally potion you. So right here, Ninten is going to do a series of reflex here. And he's actually going to get hit here on purpose to go into EXP boost range. The reason we do this is because we want to hit level 18 for Prison Keeper. And by being below half HP, we are experience boosting. And so yeah, oh, that was terrifying. He ended the limit early and then slide dashed the box. But yeah, you do want level 18 there for the strength up. Otherwise, it just makes Prison Keeper a lot harder in the sense that it takes longer. And Prison Keeper is one of those fights where you can just get hit 3 times and die and not be able to do anything about it if you're caught out of position. So Prison Keeper is actually a quite technical fight. He has a series of HP gates where he'll swallow and spit out the certain kids. And we want to hit those in a way that doesn't allow him... we can actually skip one of those phases if we do it correctly. So Ninten's actually going to use Jack's Limit here. And it keeps Prison Keeper staggered while we're able to pass or go through the HP gates. So Ninten's gonna potion here because it is a 2-shot at this point. So he got barrel first and then shock, which is pretty good. Lock. Getting lock and barrel aren't too bad. Getting shock can be pretty bad because he'll just skyrocket into the air and be really hard to hit. So right here, he's going to try and get him to 1.5 bars, and then he's going to use Jack's Limit again to finish him off. That purple swingy attack does is actually a 1-shot, so you don't want to get anywhere near that. But yeah, Prison Keeper is actually a very hard fight if you aren't well practiced at it. It's very easy to lose time and very easy to just straight up die. Yeah, some of these fights are just so hard to show how hard they are without seeing how someone died to them a few times. But Ninten's just so good at this game, as well as a lot of the other top runners, that it's hard to actually see what they're doing. So Oogie, this fight is probably one of the longest actual fights in the game, just because there's nothing we can really do to speed it up. He has 2 HP gates and 3 phases that we just have to deal with. This fight can one-shot you with the fist, so Ninten will probably be avoiding that as much as possible. After 12 boxes here, we'll actually knock Oogie down and be able to hit his actual HP gate. So during each phase, Oogie kind of gets a new trick. During the second phase, he'll actually get Oogie presents, or Oogie gifts, So we're gonna summon Chicken Little to deal with those. His whistle will keep them kind of staggered, and you don't want Emerald Blues. Having White Knights is pretty good though. Oh, that's unfortunate. So Nintendo was trying to keep those White Knights alive. And if you can keep those White Knights alive and on that platform, then when Oogie moves over to this platform, he can't spawn more Oogie gifts. And that actually will just make him spawn the next set of boxes faster. So you would skip this entire phase right here. But now he's gonna knock up one box and be forced to use Jack's Limit. The reason we use Jack's Limit is just for safety against Emerald Blues and whatnot. Oh, he got one frame. So right there, I don't know if it's still one frame on PS4, but you have what we call a frame to hit the reaction command to jump over this platform. It saves you like a few seconds because you don't have to wait for it to switch back. So after every 4 here now, Oogie will move platforms. And as you saw earlier, he has the laser kind of gimmick. Locking your camera actually makes it fairly easy to dodge those. He has a good RNG here. Oogie can move over 2 platforms instead of 1. But yeah, dying on this fight can lose you like up to 3 minutes. So generally you hope not to die here. The fight is consistent outside of phase 1 though. So once you kind of learn how to do it, it's not too bad. So now we're done with Disney Worlds for a little bit until second visits. Ninten wants to go to Atlantica. Too bad, we're going to Twilight Town again. So right here we're actually going to customize Magnet. So yeah, we're actually going to go Valor form in this fight again for 2 Keyblades and the Strength. But first we're going to Magna Finishing Leap these 2 waves. Or this 1 wave, I mean. And then we're going to actually use this Claymore. And just beat up everything. The Claymore is actually very specific. As you saw there, one of the Berserkers fell out. Okay, Ninten caught him before he DM'd, but when these Berserkers DM, they just... Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, this is... Oh, jeez. Okay, Ninten's probably gonna revert. Okay, so he couldn't stagger the Berserker, which is unfortunate. So he opted to just revert from Valor form and use Donald Comet. Comet would stagger it and give him my frames. Like, that's safety, but that's probably one of the better decisions to make in that situation. It is going to lose him a bit of time, but it's probably better than dying. So we actually just got Limit Form there, which is a Kingdom Hearts 2FM exclusive form. It basically gives you limits from Kingdom Hearts 1, and we will be using that quite a bit in the end game.
Oh no! You're right, Chipper.
So Hollow Bastion 3, this is kind of the mid-run gauntlet. We're gonna go to Space Paranoids first. And then Hollow Bastion 3 right afterwards is probably one of the harder segments in the runs for a lot of new runners. Just because so many things can kill you, like everything in this run, and it's just really hard to do technically. So right there, by using magic, you can actually skip that ledge grab there, which will save you a few seconds. Oh, that was interesting. Ninten quick ran off the top of that ledge there. Most people will fire over and then quick run the rest. I like that though. So we're actually going to take Tron's items and take off aerial finish there. A big reason we have aerial finish on in the first place is just for Prison Keeper. Because aerial finish has a really long animation and is able to just stagger Prison Keeper a lot. Because we don't want him hitting us. But for hostile program and for grinding segment coming up, we actually don't want aerial finish because the animation is just too long. That box minigame is just find the box and follow it around. Pretty simple. So right there we got massive form. So our anti-points are 0 again, even though we just got limit form. But that's pretty important because our drives from here until Port Royal 2 on Grim Reaper 2 are pretty tight. But we will need to drive in the middle of Grim Reaper 2, so we need to keep track of our anti-points. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. So Ninten got hit at the very start of Light Cycle. That first phase is not consistent. As in like how they spawn can be a little random, but everything from here on out actually is consistent. So if Ninten executes correctly, he should never get hit. It's still terrifying, but he should be fine. We go left here because I'm pretty sure it's slightly faster. I haven't seen a comparison and I haven't taken the time to time it myself, but maybe one day I'll do that. We're actually going to hug the wall here, then move closer to the green guy, and we can parry off of his shield there to kind of boost ourselves, and that actually does add up. You can do that probably about 3 times safely. The first 2 are guaranteed almost. The third one is kind of hard to get. But yeah, Ninten should be fine from this point on. So right here, we're actually going to summon Stitch. And we're going to aerial dive this soldier to force him to Cyclone. That's gonna put us below HP, below half HP. Sorry. The reason we want to be below half HP is because we're gonna experience boosts in this room. Once we freeze the first 2 monitors, it'll just endlessly spawn enemies until the timer runs up or we end the minigame. Oh, Stitch is ukuleleing those guys really high. That's not very good. But yeah, we want to freeze these first 2 windows as fast as possible to get to the endless spawns. And then we're gonna farm basically until we're close to level 24. A few reasons we use Stitch here is because he will deflect most of these strafers' attacks. He'll also refill our MP so that we can grind without using too many ethers. Because as you can see, we are below half HP, and I think almost anything will one-shot Ninten at this point. So Stitch wasn't very nice there. Ninten did have to throw an ether. We do have 2 ethers to play with here, but we'd rather not use them. Yeah, Ninten's just gonna grind here until he's like 2,000 from level 24. As you can see, he's oh, come on, Stitch. Okay, there we go. We were only like level 21 earlier. So yeah, we go up like almost 3 or 4 levels just here. Oh, Ninten8 used both of his ethers, which is a little unfortunate. So a really good grinding there is probably around like a 25 or higher. But yeah, Ninten only got a 17, so it wasn't too great. So the reason we grabbed that belt there is for the defense, and that's actually pretty big because that will prevent us from getting one shot later on. So hostile program is a very technical fight, but we're gonna use Comet here, and then we're gonna end Comet here, and we're gonna turn his back toward the wall. So when he tries to hit Sora, he actually just doesn't go anywhere. He tries to push himself away, but he'll push himself against the wall, and we actually break his pauldron there, as you see. Which is breaking one of his HP gates. We can then pick up enough orbs to go Master Form and do these combos to hit his next HP gate, which will cause him to spin around the room. Donald died, so Ninten will have to potion him quickly. He's gonna Oh, Donald died again. Ninten should be fine. Okay, yeah. So he lost a few seconds there because Donald died, and he couldn't freeze him when he normally would, but that was a really good recovery. Because eventually hostile program will stop flying around the room, and you can freeze him like that. So yeah, now we're into Hollow Bastion 3. Right here we're going to use a series of Magnet finishing leaps. I didn't really mention this earlier, but Magnet has the unique property of always going straight to your finisher. So the reason that matters is because you can't do any of your combo pluses. So unless you have 2 finishers, you can't do anything after Magnet. Beginner does not have 2 finishers here, so we have to do some weird things like Thunder into finishing leap to get to it. Whereas Crit, since it has the finishing plus, can just Magnet into finishing leap. Speeding up some of these fights and making them a bit easier. The reason we dismissed Chicken Little here is because we want to get back up to 4 drive for Demix. By having 4 drive, we're able to use Limit Form and or Master Form. There's 2 strats there. Limit Form is the more common one now because of PS4. Yeah, we need at least 4 drive or very close to it. So right here, we're going to do Water Cleanse again until right around, right below 30. We want to do right below 30 because with Trinity, we can kill 25 of them easily. Oh, he's going for the big boy strats. So if you position Trinity just right, you can get enough kills to start at 35. But he didn't, so he had to use the X part. This might be okay. Okay, he hit with the finisher. If you don't hit Demix with the finisher, that's really bad. So right here, he's going to do a Zon-Tetsuken combo into an Rs. And then he's going to do another Zon-Tetsuken to hit Demix's revenge value. He's going to auto-revert, reflect into Comet for damage and iframes. And now he's going to do 2 air combos on Demix and Comet, and then kill him. Like, I'm saying a lot of things really fast, but that's just how technical a lot of these strats are. It's hard to explain them in depth, but that is what is happening. He is accounting for all that while doing a lot of these strats. Right there, we actually put on a second reaction boost, and Ninten didn't take off Comet, so he's probably going for Comet and Port Royal too. So these are the Final Fantasy fights. The fights themselves aren't too difficult, but dying here puts you all the way back before Demix. Because the way continues work is it will put you to the last place you had free control of Sora. And as you notice, right after the Demix fight, we go straight into these fights. So the last place we had free control of Sora was before Demix. So you really don't want to die here. Dying at Cloud is probably the longest time you can lose in a single segment. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ninten plays a lot of these fights extremely safe. So right there, he's going to hit the Armored Knight for the reaction command and try to hit as many of the Morning Stars as he can. These Morning Stars can actually really kill you really fast. And a big reason we put on the belt that he got in Space Paranoids is if they fall on your head, they won't one-shot you anymore. Without that belt, they would kill you. So right there, he throws an Ether and then uses a limit. By doing that, we actually use the limit right before the Ether falls on Sora. So we replenish our MP to full while getting out an attack. He also got hit there. And because we have MP Rage, Sora will get enough MP back to use another limit as well. So you can squeeze out like 4 limits in that fight. And a big reason we do that is because limit form limits will heal Sora. It also gives you some iframes. So right there, Ninten's going to equip once more and Follow the Wind. Once more prevents you from dying to combos. So if you, as long as you live through the first hit. Oh, he didn't get a Steve at the start. That's unfortunate. Okay. So he's going into first person for more reasons than just style. That'll actually cause enemies to spawn on the screen without you having to turn the camera. And he did that to try and spawn a security robot here to get this RC. This is just the fastest way to deal with all the enemies here. Ninten is currently 14 seconds behind his PB. But yeah, so sorry. So once more, if you get hit by a series of attacks, and Sora doesn't recover, you won't die. That's pretty important for critical mode, just because you take so much damage, and especially for 1K. Big reason why 1K is so hard on level 1 is because you don't have once more. And the Armor Knights hitting you multiple times will just outright kill you. So that was a fairly okay 1K. That fight can lose you up to like 30 seconds if you get really bad RNG, but generally it's within control of the runner to mitigate a lot of that.
A photo and some ice cream.
Riku,
Your foot.
just this feeling.
So that kind of marks the end of Endgame. So now we're in like either post mid game or end game or however you want to call it. But these are these are second visits. So we actually enter this room to activate this warp point for later on. And then we talk to Beast and we're gonna I forgot. Ninten switches out Beast in the fight because he's got to save those frames. But he's gonna reflect Magna finishing leap here, and then use Trinity. And by doing a Trinity into a magnet, like I said back in Olympus Coliseum, your Trinity does damage based off how many hits you do, and your magnet hits do count. So when you Trinity into the magnet, the major drive is actually hitting enemies in and out of the magnet, causing you to get a lot of hits from the magnet, even though normally it wouldn't give you that many. And that just does a lot of damage. So right there you saw Ninten enter the room multiple times. By doing that, he's actually doing manipulation on spawning bulky vendors in a few places. And we need that for experience because critical mode just gets less experience. So right there we just got Rumbling Rose, which actually gives us another finishing plus. So now Ninten has 3 finishers. That isn't really too useful outside of Experiment, which it isn't that very useful on anymore, but the Keyblade does have more strength than Hero's Crest. So right here for these ambushes, we can actually just go into the cabin and come out and skip them. So we're going into Grim Reaper 1. Grim Reaper 1 is an interesting fight in this game just because he's probably one of the few bosses that is heavily reliant on his flinch count. Most other bosses, it does affect, but they rely a lot more on revenge value. So we're actually going to use Blizzard here because it prevents Grim Reaper 1 from teleporting while letting us do damage as well. We're going to use Blizzard again so that we don't finish the finisher. And then Ninten's going to get as many master finishers as possible here. Grim Reaper is going to teleport and then he's going to kill him off. There is a Comet strat there, but I don't know if it's consistently faster, which is why I think Ninten chooses not to do it on Grim Reaper 1. Now we skip Peter Pan. Don't need him. So these are a series of medallions we have to collect because the gamblers have them. By magnet, guard breaking, into finishing leap with the 3 finishers we have, and into an air combo, we're actually able to kill the gamblers fairly quickly. So we throw an ether there just so we have MP. We actually don't get an MP refill here before Grim Reaper 2, unfortunately. So we either need Stitch or an ether. And we don't have 3 drives, so we can't use Stitch. So yeah, the big gimmick of this fight is to get all the coins back into the chest to make Grim Reaper hittable, I guess. So we're just going to work around that. So at this first HP gate that Ninten's about to hit, Grim Reaper 2 is going to teleport to the middle. We're going to switch Donald in because we're going to be using Comet soon, and we're going to guard his attack, then use the reaction commands. He'll generally have less than 100 coins out there, and you need to use 2 thunders to hit them all out. So we have to land on the ground and use thunder. Oh, wow. Okay, Ninten is making magic happen. So right now he's gonna end the comment right now to to survive through the DM. But Donald died at a very unfortunate time. So Ninten had to potion him to be able to comment. Ninten also almost got hit there again and just straight up died. But right now we go Master Form Thunder because the Thunder hits multiple times. And it hits out 50 each time, so normally you'll hit out about 150, which just makes getting through all 882 coins much faster. By using Comet here, we're able to keep Grim Reaper 2 staggered without him teleporting. And every time he teleports, you would normally lose time, so by avoiding that, we save a lot of time. Yeah, that strat is pretty much worth going for as long as you don't die or majorly screw up.
Hey everybody, I'm picking. Are you sure? Look, it's probably just I don't know.
So we just got Duck Flare. Yeah, we just got Duck Flare. So we're going to be equipping that soon, and Duck Flare is the magical reason why everyone runs on English now for 2FM. Without Duck Flare, English would be slower due to text in Gummy Ship missions. But because of Duck Flare, it saves a lot of time in endgame. I'm not exactly sure how much, but you're saving a lot of time. So yeah, we're gonna beat up some kids really quick. Put them in the box. So we're gonna summon Stitch here because we're gonna be EXP boosting this bulky vendor I mentioned earlier. Just using the reaction command on the bulky vendor does give you experience. and we did not get... Okay, the toy box didn't jump to him and didn't hit him, so he couldn't EXP boost it. So we'll probably have to grab the bulky vendor in Agrabah. Normally you can skip it, but in this case we wouldn't be able to. So this fight we're going to reflect and then use Jack's limit to suck everything into the reflect damage. And then we're going to kill these guys near the entrance. Oh, he got clear skip. Oh my god. So we want to pick up all the presents as fast as possible before the graveyards come and pick them up, because once you get hit or they pick them up, it's just really hard to deal with them. But what happened there is if you end the limit on the same frame you pick up the last present, you'll actually skip the clear animation that just shows clear and kind of sits on the screen for a few seconds. So like that does save time. You can do that in basically anytime you use Jack's limit, really. You can use that in Candy Cane Lane, and you can use that there. Wow, this RNG is good. Holy shit. Excuse my language, but that was really good RNG right there.
Donald.
So right here, the reason we switched Donald is because we're going to use Duck Flare here. Normally we would Peter Pan this fight, but since Duck Flare just does so much damage, we can just use 3 Duck Flares to kill him off. By using a finisher at his HP gate there, we will break him apart. And then we want to throw the body toward the head. So we're going to use another Duck Flare here. And just wail on him during the Duck Flare. We have to throw 2 Ethers for MP, Reflect for damage, and then another Duck Flare to finish him off. The basic strat is really simple, but executing all those things optimally is still pretty hard. Like breaking Grim Reaper Experiment apart and then throwing his body toward the head is actually quite difficult and based on positioning. So right there we just got Decisive Pumpkin. Decisive Pumpkin is basically our Keyblade for the rest of the game except for Zigbar, really. So yeah, Ninten's grabbing this bulky vendor because he needs the experience. But yeah, we're going to be using Decisive Pumpkin for the rest of the run pretty much. It has the highest strength and has combo boost. Combo boost, similar to air combo boost, just increases the damage of our ground combos. And in endgame we're going to be using a lot of ground combos. So carpets on 2FM are kind of awkward because we don't have explosion. But we're going to be using magnet finishing late. And with well-placed magnets, it's actually fairly alright dealing with these guys. So right here, a single hit will push Jafar to move around. On his last kind of magic cast, you'll need to use a finisher or magic. So yeah, the second carpet fight's really similar to the first carpet fight. We're just going to do very specific magnets to keep everything crowd controlled, so they can never really hit us. So these switches is just hit them with the correct magic spell. Pretty simple, but since you're on the carpet, it is a little annoying. So this is this carpet escape segment. So, I mean, we can't really speed it up because it's an auto scroller, but you can get as much experience as you possible here. Because we want to hit level 30 by the end of this. Level 30 up will give us another strength boost, and that does affect Jafar. At this point, though, a lot of our damage is scaled, especially once we get into the final world, but our strength does matter here. So you might wonder why we don't experience boost here, and that's because we're actually not killing the enemies with Sora himself, and it's considered environmental kills because we're hitting them against the wall. So EXP boosting here doesn't work. It's also extremely dangerous, so I wouldn't even want to do it. Yeah, Ninten should easily hit level 30 here because he got the third bulky vendor. So we'll be fighting Genie Jafar now. It's not super new, but it's fairly recent, found by Terizzle, who's another excellent runner. But we can actually skip a cycle on Jafar now on crit by using an air combo. So I'm pretty sure Ninten's gonna go for that. But if you don't, it actually loses like up to 7 seconds having to go through a full extra cycle. Oh, the building pushed him, that's not good. See, he should be fine on damage. Okay. So yeah, basically, he skips a whole set of, or he skipped like 2 combos that you would normally do in the old strat. Okay, sorry, that was a little scary. So yeah, the fight went fairly well overall, except for the very beginning where the building just pushed him away from Jafar. Unfortunately, that can happen on this version. You can barely avoid it sometimes, but it's just really annoying to deal with.
It's that weird reading from the... Yeah, but it's...
So, as you probably noticed earlier, we didn't actually finish Beast Castle 2. Sorry, I can't talk today. The big reason we do that is because we also want level 30 for Zaldin, as well as Jafar. So now that we're level 30, we have enough strength to do this very fun strat you're about to see. Oh no. Okay. Ninten mistimed to reflect there, got hit out. Donald died, so he couldn't duck flare for safety. But fortunately, he was able to catch them all in a magnet again. So right here, Ninten's gonna cheat and mash out 9 jumps. I don't know how he does this. I don't know how anyone does this. Oh. Zaldin gave him a very delayed attack, which threw off his timing. That just sucks, but that's the first death of the run. It actually doesn't lose too much time because at the very start, but see, that's what's supposed to happen. You get 9 jumps here. Because you have 2 keyblades on, you're also doing the increased strength on the jumps, or increased damage on the jumps. And then he's going to do the 9th jump, revert, use duck flare, horizontal slash and duck flare, and then since Zaldin staggered through all this, he's able to just kill him. So this is the last Disney World we'll do of the run. Right now we're going into Riku, the hooded figure fight or some, whatever it's called, but it's Riku. We're gonna fight him. The big problem with Riku is he just kind of brick walls you. You can't stagger him and he just keeps attacking. So we're gonna be utilizing Trinity Limit to get damage off here, as well as Limit Form. Oh, that's unfortunate. So Riku charged into the wall, which hit him out of Sonic Blade, but fortunately he stayed still long enough to get an R's out as well. Oh, Ninten can still easily sub 3. He can actually PB as well. Sorry, I can't talk like Ninten. I could try. Here, let me try. Cat bag. I don't think it worked. So yeah, we're gonna use Genie for this fight. Using Genie Limit gives us iframes and does quite a bit of damage because there's multiple points at which you can hit Storm Miner. So hitting all of them actually does that out. So by falling off here and then jumping on Storm Rider's back, we save a bit of time instead of having to hold onto his back and watch the mini cutscene of Storm Rider flipping around. And then here we can reflect into the reaction command to knock him down. And then with Duck Flare we can just finish him off. Fight's a little more technical, but it's very specific combos that Ninten does to get him to that HP gate to let us kill Storm Rider there. So yeah, we're going into the last gummy ship mission of the run now, and then from there on out it's just constant fights to the end.
And there's something funny about... Look, it's another... I don't know what's going on, fellas.
Let's go!
Watch out!
Yeah, commentator. Let me commentate this high octane gummy ship mission going on right now. Oh no, watch out for the laser, Sora. That is literally impossible to get hit by. You could not get hit by this laser. So this is our final visit to Twilight Town. We're gonna do a fight with Mickey and then a fight with Axel. Both of these fights, our party members don't help out very much, but we can get around that. So right here, this force is actually pretty scary because those sniper shots will one-shot Sora right now. Oh, Ninten barely avoided that. But we're gonna use Master Form Genie. So Ninten's actually gonna jump away from these enemies in Magnet and Master Form Genie. He's gonna do that for the first 3 waves here, actually. And this is going well so far. Okay, this is good. He's gonna use the Genie finisher here to kill that last... Oh, Mickey. Mickey was not friendly there. So yeah, that can happen. Mickey can just hit everything away from you, which is not good. So unfortunately, Ninten's probably losing at least 20 seconds here. Or maybe not, maybe more like 15. But yeah, no, if Mickey hits out the things, it really messes up the fight, because you just don't have enough Genie limit or MP to really deal with that situation. So this next fight is the Axel fight. This fight is also terrifying, because the assassins can actually one-shot you with their stabby pokey move. And there's a lot of them that spawn, and as soon as they spawn, will just stab you. So if Axel like kills an enemy at the exact wrong time and causes one to spawn as you're reverting, you can just die. Their suicide attack also one-shots you right now. So there's just a lot of things to have to deal with in this fight. This fight is not going ideally. So yeah, Ninten's playing it safe here. But there's not much you can do right now. Oh my god. If Ninten had gotten hit by that, he would have died. Fortunately, he was far enough as he landed to not get hit by it, but that's the big problem with this Axel fight. Like, even though you're killing enemies, the spawns can get screwed up in a way that the spawns are tied to other enemies. So even though it looked like everything was dead because of the way that the enemies died, that one enemy was tied to another enemy until he spawned. So yeah, this is Roxas. Roxas is actually very hard casually. He's just one of those first bosses that will relentlessly attack you and not give up. Fortunately, we do have a loop here that we utilize and incorporate in the run that is able to let us just force Roxas to use his air retaliation. And his air retaliation is 100% consistent. So Ninten looks to be going for Trinity-less here. Okay, and he got it. Oh god, he's going for swag finish. So one thing I should note that you've probably seen a few times, but we're going to be using a lot, is the R's limit and limit form. As long as you do not do the final hit of the limit, no revenge value will be added, and he will stay staggered. So by only doing, I think it's 6 of the bashes, we're able to keep him staggered, do a lot of damage, and not go over his revenge value. So right here, because we have 2 become 1 on, you're actually guaranteed anti-form or final form, if you have 5 drive bars. But since we've been using so many drive forms throughout the run, we actually need to reset our anti-points all the way down here. So we're going to use anti-form twice to basically reduce our anti-points to 0. So now we can use we can use drive forms on Zigbor and Syax without having to worry about going anti. Ninten has 7 ethers, which should be okay, but it's going to be tight. I would not be surprised if he opts to use Stitch during the core fight. Gotcha now.
Clever little sneak.
So right here, Ninten's gonna wait for Zigbar to reload, or to shoot 3 times and then to start reloading. Then he's gonna do this duck flare combo on him to get his HP down. He's gonna go Valor form here for extra damage and to get his MP back. Right here, he's gonna wait for Zigbar to reload again and do the same duck flare combo. And if he has enough damage, he will just kill Zigbar here. And this is one of the big reasons why duck flare is just so powerful in the English version. It just lasts so much longer and does so much more damage. We can kill Zigbar in 2 duck flares. Whereas the original PS2 version needed 3 duck flares and a bunch of master form damage.
The first to run out of time is the loser.
So the Luxor fight in the patch 1.03 and 1.04 caused his cards to become inconsistent. So we can't loop him like we normally would on the PS2 and PS3 version. So Ninten is opting to use Magnet here to control the cards. And unfortunately, he just has to use Magnet until Luxor decides to give him good RNG. Ideally, a perfect fight would still be the same as PS2, where he would only use minigame. But that doesn't seem to be the case right now. Oh, that's unfortunate. He reflected the card and still got hit. This fight is just really hard to do. And Luxor is not being friendly. Oh, so his revenge value is too high. So he's going to DM here, even though Ninten went for DM skip. That was a really fast minigame. So yeah, unfortunately, Luxor just did not give him good luck right there. So there wasn't much he could do. If he keeps jumping with cards, there's just not much you can do. So Luxor is probably one of the few just straight bad fights you can't do anything about now in the run.
Do you feel it? The moon's power. Moon, shine down.
So it looks like Ninten will still be going for slapshot strats here. There's a slightly newer strat here, but it uses more ethers. And Ninten's pretty short on ethers. So it looks like he's going for a different strat. So yeah, he was too short on damage, so he tried to loop Syax an initial time by throwing an ether. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get his reflect out in time, so Syax was able to hit him. Normally you would have Peter Pan here, but since Ninten skipped him, he couldn't even back up with Peter Pan. And that's a big reason why he had to sit through a Berserk phase. But he actually cannot physically even do Peter Pan here. So English actually used to be able to crash on this fight, but they actually did patch it out. So English won't randomly, or it's not random, but English won't crash on this fight anymore by reverting in limit form after you've been cursed. So that's nice, but this fight is still pretty technical to do correctly. Right here, there's actually 3 reaction commands you can do here. On the 2FM version, we do want the 3rd one because it does the most damage. We're gonna try and push him away from the building here so he's not on the stairs, just because the stairs screw with our combos. Then Ninten's gonna do a series of reflect slaps or reflects on the Xemnas here. At this point, his action count's gonna cause him to do different things, so we do want to hit his revenge value. So once more did save him there, but Ninten ate that, so he could go limit form here to kill Xemnas. And once again, you see there where he changed the Zantatsukins into the Arses to be able to get a lot of damage out without the boss breaking out. So yeah, this is the point of no return. There's no saving, there's no menuing at this point. This is just a series of reaction commands to get to the engine fight. So right here, the clock time bomb things will die in one hit, or get hit into the engine in one hit. So by using magnet, they just get sucked in, and that counts as a hit. So that's just the most effective way to deal with them. So Ninten will be going for Riz's Genie strat Encore here. Because he's using Master Form instead of Stitch. One interesting thing, for some reason, when you use Master Form Magnet on the core here, it will just instantly spawn enemies, whereas normally you would have to do multiple hits. So using Trinity, he can get rid of the first two waves. He's gonna summon Genie here. Oh, the strat is... Genie's not in the right form here, so... So yeah, Ninten screwed up the strat a little because he didn't have Genie in Master Form. So he wasn't able to do it correctly. But he should still be fine for the most part. So right here, if the arms come down on you, they can actually one-shot you. Ninten should be fine. Yeah, he did an air combo there to make sure he wasn't on the ground. So these Armor 1 fights are actually pretty interesting. The sword swing will one-shot him, so he's going to try and avoid that and reflect it as much as possible. You do need to keep Donald alive because you do want to slapshot in this fight. These water clones will also kill you extremely fast if you're not careful. But Ninten knows that this is revenge value to be able to avoid the attacks effectively. You can also use Duffler at the end here to just kill him really fast. This is a really long semi-side scroller, but you can go fast in it at least. But you can't speed up some of these portions. So I guess I can explain finisher canceling. Riku has this interesting mechanic where, even when you're on base or fighting the Armor Zemnis fights, if you use Riku's reaction command, you can actually continue your combo longer than you're supposed to, and that applies here as well. So Ninten can get to a finisher and then press either laser or drain, and he's able to just continue using finishers. This is actually a little faster because you're able to instantly knock out the bomb enemies rather than taking multiple hits. So this is the second armor fight. This fight's actually a lot easier than the first one, just because you have less things to worry about. But we can force Zemnis to swing his sword there, and then he'll always shield here, and we can hit his HP gate right afterwards. So right here we're gonna knock the building into the wall to break it apart. And after this, Ninten's actually gonna aerial dodge instantly and glide forward. And this prevents the snowflake lasers from spawning, because those are just slow. They get in your way and they hit you, so you don't want to deal with them. So similar to the first phase, we're just trying to get him to his HP gate until he knocks us back again. After avoiding these, Ninten's going to fly straight, and it doesn't look like he got quick building, so he's going to hover to the left here to try and grab this building. We're at the end here. Ninten throws that ether because he wants full MP going into Final Zemnis, because we have to use a lot of reflex at the start. This actually was fixed on the HD versions where you can avoid the vines consistently now without them randomly hitting you. So Ninten will be reflecting during this segment. Using Session here on patch 1.02 lost about 10 seconds. But now that we're able to do this again, we do this because it's faster. So right now we're about trying to get his HP to right above 4 bars. Now we're gonna go limit for him, and we're gonna make sure to stagger him, and then do 2 Rz's and a Zantetsuken in any order. The reason we want to do this is because we want to skip laser phase. Ninten's is going to throw the elixir and hit his revenge value to force him to grab him again. Now he's going to just reflect him and hope to kill him in the air. And he got it. So that was a really good finals on this fight. And this should be a 259. So that's pretty cool. See, unfortunately, in Twilight Town 3, it kind of went, kind of started going downhill, but that was still, like, a really good run from Ninten up till that point. He was deathless. Well, he had 1 death at Zaldin, and that's, like, amazing in a marathon run. Only 1 death. Unless I'm misremembering. It's been a while. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We're not quite done yet, but hope you are entertained. Hope no one fell asleep to my commentary. And hope you all learned something, so thanks everyone for watching. Up next we have, Reverse Rebirth by Sonic. Reverse Rebirth is actually a pretty good one. So yeah, 259.12. Still an amazing run from Ninten. So I'm gonna let the organizers take over from here. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. See y'all next time.
We did it!
Follow Ninten, he's amazing.
I wouldn't be too sure of that.
Sora, I can't.
Don't say another word. It's not over. It's just not.
How can you say that? Even if we could go on. Look where we are.
Aw, come on, Riku. You've been hanging out in darkness too long. You gotta try and think positive.
Sora? You lead.
Got it.
You know? I always figured I was better at stuff than you.
Really?
Are you mad?
No. I kinda always thought you were better at everything, too. Riku, look. What's that light?